Yeah, obviously, purpose of every team in the PSL is to finish in the top 8 come the end of the season, because it's an opportunity of a lifetime. 10 million prize money, 4 matches, good bonus opportunity for the players. So I think everybody's hyped up and ready for the game, but we're all well aware that tough opposition who last season finished off really, really strongly. Yes, they've got a different coach. They've got a different playing philosophy now, but the quality of the players that they have still persists. And it's going to be a tough match, so we're going to have to be at our very best. Obviously, we've made a lot of changes to the squad this season. We brought in a number of new players, new faces, a lot of experience, a lot of quality, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing how we start the season. It's always difficult to gauge when you're in the preseason through your friendlies if the team is ready or not. But when that whistle blows on Saturday, we will see exactly how far we are in terms of achieving our objectives, especially with a new squad. Them learning our playing philosophy, our culture as a club, our identity as a club. So far, I've been very, very excited and happy with the progress that I've seen from the squad and the intensities and all of that in terms of our training sessions have been very, very good, although challenging, because you can see the state of the field. And I think it's only the third time we're actually on the field. We've been training mostly on the artificial. But glad to be back on the field at least, and getting ourselves now ready this week has been all about Sekhukhune, tactically how we want to set up and what we want to do against it.
Okay, thank you, Coach. We'll take questions. Lisa?
Can I ask you, in terms of last year when you were really thin in squad-wise and you're obviously not happy with that situation, how would you rate the depth of the squad compared to, what is this now, season 4 for you, season 3 back?
I think, for me personally, if I go back to even the first season, I know we put together a great squad back in 2016. But I think all in all, the depth that we have currently in the squad, this is probably the best squad that we've had as a club, which bodes well. But you can have good players, doesn't mean you have a good team, So that's why I said to you, come Saturday, we will know whether we've got a good team. We know we've got a good squad. We know we've got a lot of experience mixed with youth, which I think is extremely important. Young players have benefited immensely with those players having come in. The quality that has come into the club has obviously raised the bar for all the others. And that's what you want. As a coach, it becomes harder for me now to sit and choose my starting 11. It becomes a lot harder choosing my 20-man squad and puts a lot of pressure on myself. But that's the right type of pressure that you want, is that there's a good, healthy competition within the team.
Well, Coach, we obviously learned about Mayo's exit last week, but is it something that you've been preparing for? And have you got an plan to fill the void?
Yeah, obviously, Mayo had 2 very, very good seasons, and there was in the press every week, literally, that Mayo was going to Sundowns, Mayo was going to Chiefs, Mayo was going here, Mayo was going there. So, and I said this before, as a club, we'll never stand in the way of a player progressing and bettering his life, So we've always had to be aware of that situation, and a lot of people assume we done our scouting lastminute.com, but we started our scouting a long time ago in terms of who we want to bring in, who fits the profile, who has the personality, who has the characteristics, and so we have a replacement for him, which unfortunately right now can't get in the country because he's banned. But we're hoping to resolve that situation as soon as possible. the youngster Jody has really stepped up, has really done well so far during the preseason. So we're very happy with the progress that he has made. We sent Luke Daniels on loan because we felt that he needed more game time. And then obviously we have Prince, who's come back from injury, who can play as a 9 or a false 9. So we have the options available to ourselves there.
Coach, with Mokotjo, obvious, good quality, but when you look at letting go of someone like Mokeke, a similar profile, Mokeke's younger, what's the thinking there? Like,
yeah, so I think Mokeke at the time, we've got to remember that he had an injury and was out, and that injury is a long-term injury, can reoccur. So for the club, it didn't make sense continuing with Tata Mokeke and bringing in his experience. Kamo played in Europe for a number of years at a high level. Kamo, in terms of his leadership, in terms of his charisma, I think he suited the club very, very well, and he just becomes an added experienced player that we have next to Taimi, next to Darren Keat, that are there to help the younger players. So I've been an admirer of his for quite a while, long time. He was always a thorn every time we played Sekhukhune. So having him on board was a massive gain, and Lebo Manyama must actually take a lot of credit for that.
Any more questions? Sandile again?
I want to follow up on Mokotjo. Obviously, I mean, for 2 seasons it's been at Sekhukhune, and I mean, as you say, every time he plays, it's unbelievable. And when you look at the bigger teams, I mean, Pirates, for example, they go for someone like Makaula, a good player as well. What do you think has taken so long? Maybe why do you think that bigger clubs have maybe not recognized him, or because he is that type of a player, who belongs in the team?
I can't really answer that. You got to ask that question to the bigger clubs, But Sekhukhune, I know they got a bit of cash, so I think they beat everybody else to getting his signature, So I think you got to give credit to them.
Coach, the last couple of seasons, I think even after the AFCON, you struggled in terms of starting. You started slow, you didn't hit the ground running. Is it something that maybe you have picked up in terms of what caused that, and something that you're working on now so that you start the season on a better footing?
I wish I could agree with you there, because yes, the first season we started off slow. The second season we started off well, and then the third season we started off slow again. And like I said, in all of those seasons, for example, the first one, we were in Polokwane. We couldn't win a game. We struggled in the preseason with the friendlies, and hence we started poorly. Second season, we went to KwaZulu-Natal. We beat everybody there. We started off well, and then started to drop. So it's difficult for me to gauge what are the reasons. Was it easier in KwaZulu-Natal because of the teams that we played in those friendlies? Was it harder in Polokwane in terms of the teams because we played Pirates, we played Sundowns, versus playing in Durban, we played Golden Arrows, and we played Royal AM, for example. So this year again, we went back to Polokwane to get those type of friendlies, but this time instead of looking to play Sundowns and that, I looked to play against teams that we struggled against in the league. We tend to struggle against the old Sekhukhune. The Sekhukhune we see now is a different one with a new coach, but those teams that play a long ball, a lot of balls in behind, with a lot of aggression, and we struggled against. So I wanted to make sure that when we start this season, that doesn't happen again.
Can I ask you if there are any specific plans with players in a different profile, like Tommy and Keezy, for example? Is he going to continue as a marauding right back at his advancing age, or are you thinking maybe to shift him? It'd be a bit of a waste of the centre back given the way he pushes forward. But that's my question: is have you got, for certain of the more experienced players, have you got plans to maybe change them a little bit, their roles?
Yeah, I think you would have noticed over the past couple of seasons that I mix the formations a little bit. Sometimes I'll play with a back three, sometimes I'll play with a back four, but it will all depend, obviously, in terms of the opposition. Taimi of late has been playing more of a right centre back role in a back three, but there's one thing about Taimi Mkhize: he doesn't like to be called old. He doesn't like to be called old, and he's still probably one of the most hardworking players out on the pitch, you know. So obviously managing him is going to be most important factor. But what you don't want to take away is the quality that he possesses, both in terms of being able to keep the ball and then also his ability to get forward in 1v1 situations. You don't want to take that away. So, you know, whether I play him as a wing back or whether I play him as a right centre back, I still want to give him that freedom to be able to express himself, you know. But obviously, the two roles, he has certain more defensive responsibilities if he has to play as a right centre back versus a right wing back.
And on the left-hand side with Mark gone, is Nyama fully healed? Will he be the left choice, or will he be allowed to roam a little bit more?
Yeah, so if Seko, obviously in the back four, he can play the left back position. But he's one of those who likes to get forward, but that's what I want when I play in a back four system. You want to use proper wing backs, you know, so you're looking to try and protect them more with defensive midfielders, the likes of Kamo and Petrus, etc. And let's not forget, Petrus also started as a left back. So Petrus can always fill in there and be that more defensive left back if need be.
Coach, you mentioned expecting a different Sekukune. You heard Makoba's warning at the MTN about him. What have you guys done research-wise into their new coach and the new players?
Leonard has done quite a lot, you know, our analyst. He's even researched these clubs while he was in Germany, and he's a coach that likes to play out from the back. He plays through the phases. So tactically, very, very different in terms of how they're going to play against us versus Sekukune in the past, who used to be a little bit more direct. So obviously, and then we've watched quite a few of their friendlies now during preseason, which has given us an opportunity to obviously see exactly what their game model is and how they plan to set up against us.
Gegenpressing.
Sorry?
Gegenpressing.
Yes.
Coach, you mentioned obviously having signed a replacement for Mayo with the ban. If for whatever reason that doesn't work out the way you expect, is Kermit Erasmus a player you look into?
Not at the moment, no. No, understand the ban is, it should have already been lifted because he was banned until the 31st of July. So unfortunately, it hasn't been sent yet. So he was actually stopped by Lufthansa. So Lufthansa wouldn't allow him on the flight because it's still registered that he had a ban. But all that has to happen is that has to be lifted, and then he can fly out.
Travel ban.
He overstayed his visa because his wife gave birth.
And sorry, Julian, your backroom changes, losing Paul, your DDC coach went overseas, I can see you got a new goalkeeper coach.
Yes.
Been a bit disruptive, or is it part of the
No, again,
cycle?
you know, those were things that happened. We already knew about them, although Paul's one came as a surprise. But I'll go to the Paul one last. Jorge, we already knew about Jorge leaving, so we already started that scouting process in terms of his replacement. He was the one who actually was integral in us finding Miguel, a replacement. I felt it was important again to get a Spanish goalkeeper coach. I I like their training philosophy in terms of how they coach goalkeepers, but also helps us with Darwin, with his Spanish. So that one, we had already done that last season already. Towards the end, we had already replaced. Obviously, then Moritz, that also came as a little bit of a surprise at the end of the season, but again, better opportunity for him in life, and no one's going to stand in his way, and he left. And then Paul was a week ago, just over a week ago, when we played Spurs, a friendly. Paul told me he got the offer from Sundowns, and again, can't stand in his way. Unfortunately, we don't pay analysts what Sundowns pay analysts.
You think it was media officer might go next?
I think he mentioned something.
Just in terms of injuries.
Yeah, so like I said, Prince is back now. He's fully fit. He's been playing friendlies, so we're happy to have him back. Thabo Nodada, still a long term, obviously, because of the ACL. So we're looking at Thabo Nodada probably end of September only. So he should be available from October. Carlinhos picked up an injury on Saturday. So he's going for a scan today to see the severity, and we're hoping it's not something extremely severe, because that will be a massive loss, because he's really been good, and he was one of the big signings that we made from Petro, someone I had watched and wanted for quite a few seasons. Took a while to convince the chairman. So losing him right now to a long-term injury would be massive. So those are the three. Then you've got Jaden, who's suspended, so he's not available for the game.
Coach, we've mentioned the Fortunes and the Hashims and the youngsters out there. I see a lot of young players. Is it your plan to blood them throughout the season, or are some of them ready already?
So we've created what we call progression players or transition players. So they're players that come and train with us 2-3 times a week. I brought them in right at the beginning of preseason because I thought all of them could benefit from it, especially the young man, Emil. He's only 15.
Birthday next week.
Right? Yeah. So, but I think he has fantastic talent, but still needs a lot of work. And I think he benefits from being with us, playing at a higher level, learning from the older players. And I think, like I said, the group that we have now is a group that will teach him a little bit about type of attitude, type of mentality, type of personality, type of discipline that he requires, because talent alone doesn't guarantee you anything. So if he can stay grounded, and I think with this squad, they'll keep him grounded. So he's been very good now. And we're hoping that we get opportunity this season to be able to throw him in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that he can gain some experience. And then others, Koza, unfortunately, he's injured. But he's been called up to the under-20 national team. Then Gabby, I think he's really made strides and really looks phenomenal. I'm really surprised at the progress that he's made just in these last 4 weeks, and I think he has a bright future ahead of him. Sipamandla, he's now come into the squad, fits in very well, can play right back, can play right centre back, very versatile, a lot like Tommy, likes to get forward, has the ability in 1v1s, comfortable on the ball. So he might be the future Tommy replacement, you never know. But he's someone that's part of that progression group.
Jody, obviously.
Jody's now fully in since Mayo has now left. So Jody's now, as it stands, is our number one striker. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Coach.